Welcome everyone to Bonifab Custom. Today I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to be making a pizza oven. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I love barbecuing stuff. Or is it just eating? One of the two. Anyways, we're going to be making a pizza oven today, and I'm going to show you my take on making the pizza oven. Let's get right into it. So a conventional or a traditional pizza oven is made with bricks, and that's exactly how I like to make them. I like to keep that tradition of having that real thick brick inside and brick laid. Now, the difference between how I build it is a traditional pizza oven, has a base, and the base is bricked. And then on top of that base is where you make this brick dome. And it takes quite a bit of work to make this brick dome. You basically have to be a pretty good bricklayer for this, because you are essentially building up these bricks, and they're creating this dome as you're bringing it up. And sometimes you need this some sort of support on the inside so the bricks don't fall in, or you have to do them in sections, let it dry, and then move on to the next part every day, or as long as it takes to reach the top. Now, the way I build, or I have made my way of building a pizza oven, and I've made these a few times, is, and that's what I'm sharing with you today, is I make it upside down. So I had made a mold of the dome, and the mold of the dome is on kind of like a carrier, a little framework. So now I can bricklay from the inside, or from the top, all the way to the bottom of the dome perfectly. And I'm no bricklayer, but because I'm doing it from the inside, I could see how each brick is laid, and each brick is supporting each other as it's going up, unlike the traditional way of doing it from the outside to the top, or from the bottom to the top, where you have to support it as you're moving along. So that makes it a lot easier for the bricklaying, and you could do it a lot quicker because you don't have to wait for that cement or that mortar to dry or cure as it's going up, because it's supported by the center section, or the center of the bricks. Okay, so let's take a look at the framework I made in detail, and I can show you how that's actually going to go together, or what we're going to start with. Okay, so here is the framework. Do a quick view of the whole thing. And it's made out of some heavy gauge steel. You got to keep in mind that when that dome is finished in there, it's going to weigh about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds. So the framework has to be really strong for that. And then I have these two pivot points, one here and one on the other side. And you can see I have a locking mechanism, because once I'm done the dome with this threaded rod on top, I'm going to hold the bottom of the dome in there, and then I'm going to flip it over onto the pad. That makes it a lot easier. So it's completely done, flipped over on the pad, then it gets finished from the outside with some refractory cement. On the inside I have some mesh for the dome, and that's so the mortar can breathe and cure from underneath, because that mortar is going to be against here. Well, actually the refractory cloth is going to go against here, then the mortar and the brick is going to be on top of that. So let's go take a look at all of the refractory and brick I'm going to be using for this pizza oven. Okay, so here is all of the materials I need to make that pizza oven. And the pizza oven that I like to make, or the one that's going to make in that frame, is about a 3-foot inner diameter. So a half decent sized pizza oven. And it's made with brick. It's not a refractory cement type. It's more of a traditional type of pizza oven. Now, so for the outer part of the dome, or what I'm going to put into that frame first before I lay the brick, is going to be this DuraBlanket. It's a refractory blanket. It's about 1 inch in thickness. And I have a roll of that there. Then I have this refractory board, and the refractory board is 1 inch thick, and that's what's going to be underneath the base, or underneath the base brick of the pizza oven. That's going to help hold that heat in so it cooks your pizza really nice on the bottom. Then I have about 200 brick, and these are just a medium grade refractory brick. It's a heavy brick made for that. And I have a pre-mixed Vesuvius mortar, and this is a high temperature refractory mortar. And this makes it really nice because you don't have to mix any up and worry about it drying on you. Basically, you use it as you go. So if I cut a bunch of brick, I'm going to lay down those bricks with the mortar and then close this up, and I can just continue cutting bricks and laying mortar, cutting bricks, laying mortar. I don't have to do anything but that. Just saves a lot of time, and it's pretty inexpensive. So I have 2 of those pails, and that's basically everything to make the dome as right now. And then I'm going to make a framework for the base, and I have some normal Portland cement for that, and I'm going to pour that later. So let's get into figuring out how I'm going to start this pizza oven. I'm going to lay down that refractory cloth first, and then we can get into cutting some brick. Okay, so the first step, or the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to put the blanket refractory in the whole bottom here, and that's going to be basically the refractory for the outside. And because it's reversed, it's on the inside here. And that is going to help me release this from the mold when I flip it over. So I'm going to cut some up and put it inside. Now that I have all the refractory cloth inside here, or the blanket, I'm going to start cutting some brick and working my way from the center outward. And I'm going to put them inside there and just measure to make sure I got the right center section. I'm going to measure from the center to the outside of the frame just to make sure that I have this in the right center. Now that it's in center, I'm going to start cutting up all my bricks, and they're going to start off smaller because the radius is smaller in the center here. And I'm going to dry fit maybe 2 or 3 layers or rows, and then I'll start mortaring them together or cementing them together, because that's a longer process. So once I have that, then I'll work on to the next section. So I got a lot of cutting and grinding done on all those blocks, and quite a few rows done. But for this video, I'm going to stop here Next week, I'm going to continue with cutting and fitting all those stones to complete the dome. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to cure it. And then eventually we're going to flip it over onto the pad and definitely going to have some pizza in there. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and push that button for notifications for the next videos of my pizza oven build. Thanks.